Good afternoon, everyone. Hope you all were able to get some food. Hope it's delicious. I'll be getting some afterwards. My name is Reczek, and I am the Executive Director of the ALS Association Western Pennsylvania Chapter, and I want to be the first to officially welcome you to the Community Appreciation Celebration, aka the rescheduled holiday party. As I was saying, I've been here, as I said, I'm the Executive Director, and I've been here for 3.5 years, working alongside this incredible team that we've got here at the chapter. So I'm sorry, I know you all are eating, but I'm going to ask each of our chapter staff members to stand up so we can recognize you. Come on, team, I see you around, yep. Thank you. I can honestly say I've never worked with a better team, and I'm so thrilled that I've had the opportunity to be with these folks over the last 3.5 years. We're really thrilled to welcome you all back. This is our first large in-person event since 2019. Today we are going to celebrate all of you, our volunteers, our donors, and our friends. As a voluntary health charity, the work of the chapter and the larger association is only possible because of your engagement in the mission of this organization. Before we get to our program today, I want to provide you with we'll provide you with a recap of the past year and recognize many of you for your commitment to our community. I want to tell you a little bit about a new direction the association is taking. Last May, all 39 of our chapters and our national home office launched a new strategic plan that set forth a bold goal. And if you listen to this is the bold goal. We're going to make ALS a livable disease as we continue to work towards a cure for ALS. Alongside that goal, we laid out a new strategic plan. You can see up here. So you might be asking yourself, what does making ALS a livable disease really mean? Number one, it means extending life for people living with ALS. Number two, it's about improving the quality of life for people who have been or will be diagnosed. And number three, it's about preventing loved ones from getting ALS. We're going to get there by focusing in 3 primary areas. First, It's finding new treatments and cures by expanding access and participation to clinical trials while also funding more focused research. 2, it's about optimizing current treatments and care by continuing to improve services and investing in the development of new assistive technologies. And 3, it's about preventing or delaying harms associated with ALS by identifying risk factors, beginning treatments as early as possible, and investing in science that will prevent the onset of ALS. Those are big goals, but together I know we can achieve them. As a result of this change in the strategic plan, we did a little internal looking and said, what changes do we need to make in order to reach those milestones? That led to a decision to modify our management structure in order to better coordinate the delivery of care and share resources across our chapter network. To be clear, no changes will be made to what our chapter provides. The transformations we're making are about efficiency and coordination. Now to tell you about these changes. Our chapter is going to join 5 other chapters in our area: the Northern Ohio, Southern Ohio, Kentucky, Indiana, and Michigan chapters to form a new Great Lakes territory. Each of our boards will continue to provide the guidance and oversight in our local chapter areas as they always have. However, we will dissolve the role of executive director in each office and appoint a territory-wide management team. Everyone who works for the association has been guaranteed a comparable or higher level job in our new management model. I'm pleased to tell you that I have recently been offered and accepted the role of Senior Vice President of Development for the organization and will now lead our fundraising efforts nationwide. Locally, our new territory will be headed by a territory executive and 4 managing directors. I'm thrilled to share with you that our territory executive is a name that is familiar to many of you, Merritt Spier, who is coming out of retirement to take that role. Merritt is the former executive director of our chapter and will be coming up in a moment to say hello and tell you a little bit more. Additionally, I want to tell you about some other changes with staff. Our very own Marie Folino has moved into the role of Managing Director of Care Services, overseeing care management of our entire territory. And our Director of Development, Kristi Marsili, has transitioned into the role of Managing Director of Development to lead the fundraising efforts in all 6 of our chapters. Yeah, please. But please have no fear. Marie and Kristi will remain an integral part of our local work, and you'll be in good hands with familiar faces filling their shoes. They will all work alongside managing directors of volunteer engagement named John Coyne, who's from our Northern Ohio chapter, as well as a managing director of advocacy, Alex Meixner, who brings years of public policy experience and lives in Indiana. Finally, I want to congratulate Kelsey Moschetta for accepting the role of Director of Territory Marketing and Communications. Kelsey will oversee all marketing and communications efforts in territories across the association. Please. I know that's a lot of change all at once. However, it's change that will make a bigger difference. It has also provided us with opportunities to leverage the skill sets of so many staff and allow them opportunities to grow at the association. This is a turning point for our group, one that will help us grow and support the community in ways that we never thought possible. It's a cause that's near and dear to all of us, and we want to make sure that we can do more. Now, as I promised, I'd like to welcome Merritt Spier, Great Lakes Territory Executive, to come up to the stage. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. I see a lot of familiar faces, but I see a lot of new ones too. And I am really excited to be here. I wasn't sure when I retired that this was in my future, but here I am. It's really dark up here. It is such a pleasure to be here, and it truly is. I have to admit, I really was enjoying retirement. I was doing the retirement thing. And when I walked out of that door from the chapter back in 2018, and I do believe there's a photo of it somewhere, I thought my work days were over. But ALS was in my heart and in my soul. And I remain committed to the association as a volunteer serving on a national committee, and I continued supporting fundraising events locally, even hosting a holiday auction with Ryan, I think a year or so ago. What I can say for sure is that I never thought I'd come out of retirement to work full-time again. My husband and I were 100% focused on the next step in our lives. But during COVID's darkest months, I spent a lot of time with my feelings, and I came to the conclusion that I wasn't quite finished with my career. I just felt that I had more to give. I was looking for something that would take care of my longing to give back. When I heard about the bold new goal that the association was about to pursue, it sparked something very deep inside of me, and I knew I wanted to be a part of that. I just didn't know how to go about it. And then honestly, sort of out of the blue, in February of this year, I was asked if I would had any interest in serving as the new territory executive of the ALS Great Lakes region. I had been following the internal changes closely through my friends and connections who still work for the chapter and for the association, and honestly, it was a no-brainer. I accepted the job. I am blessed with a masterful house husband and a supporter, and I am thrilled that I get to lead the new Great Lakes Territory in collaboration with the team we have here in Pittsburgh, as well as the ALS teams in 4 other cities. I am so excited that I was able to tap Marie Folino and Kristi Marsili to work with me and take their skills and success across the region to show the rest of the territory how we do it here in Western Pennsylvania. And by that, I mean the right way. Marie and Kristi and I have a long and prosperous history, and I really do not think that I would have taken the job if I could not have hired the 2 of them to be by my side. I wanted the best of the best. I feel that I could not have put together a stronger, more talented group of people to lead the territory and make life better for all of those living with ALS and their families. Together, we are going to be stronger. We are going to provide a higher level of care to thousands of people each year, based on the knowledge that we have with Kristi, Marie, and my 2 other territory managing directors. This evolution really began in 2014 with the Ice Bucket Challenge. It changed our world. Since that time, we have funded science that has discovered 40 new genes related to ALS, led more than 25 new clinical trials for potential treatments, and increased our reach within our own community, making a positive impact in more lives than we've ever been able to before. These management shifts that Ryan spoke about are the next natural evolution of the ALS Association that has seen so much positive change over the past 8 years. I am excited to work with all of you whom I'm already familiar with, and I'm looking forward to meeting those of you who have joined the community since I retired. Together, we are going to make ALS a livable disease on our way to our ultimate goal, of course, of a world without ALS. Now I'd like to introduce Kelsey Moschetta, who is going to tell us about our amazing state and federal advocacy work. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Merritt. You couldn't stay away from us for too long, but we're really happy that you're back. First, I'd like to thank you all for giving me the honor to lead the chapter's marketing and advocacy efforts over the past few years. I am very excited to take the knowledge and skills that I've gained here at the chapter to help improve communications throughout the entire country. I'd also like to congratulate Danielle Labruzzo for her promotion to marketing manager, and also to Alex Meixner for taking over chapter's advocacy. You all are in great hands as we continue to work together to spread the word about our programs and share your ALS stories. Now to take a step back and share our 2021 advocacy highlights. The ALS Association is at the forefront of public policy, working to improve the lives of people living with ALS and their caregivers. Our advocacy work focuses on educating and mobilizing all federal and state policymakers in a nonpartisan fashion to achieve the mission of the ALS Association, which is to discover treatments and a cure for ALS and to serve, advocate for, and empower people affected by ALS to live their lives to the fullest. The role of an ALS advocate is to share one's personal story with state legislators and members of Congress to educate, create awareness, and demonstrate the devastating toll of this disease, with the goal of securing federal and state funding and passing legislation that benefits the ALS community. Over the years, the dedication of ALS advocates sharing their story has resulted in huge wins, such as eliminating the 2-year waiting period before people living with ALS receive Medicare benefits due to disability and implementing regulations at the Department of Veterans Affairs to designate ALS as a service-connected disease, thus giving veterans with ALS and their survivors access to VA benefits. Despite having to advocate completely through Zoom meetings in 2021, advocates from our community and across the nation helped to secure impressive wins. Last May, advocates from across Pennsylvania shared their stories and experiences to demonstrate an increased need for state funding. This resulted in our very own Western Pennsylvania chapter and our Greater Philadelphia chapter, Friends to the East, receiving an increase from $850,000 to $1 million in state funding to support our programs and services. Speaking of increased funding, advocates made great strides in securing more federal research dollars through outreach last June. We boosted funding for the National Institutes of Health, resulting in an estimated $115 million in funding for ALS research. Additionally, we secured increased federal dollars for ALS research at the Department of Defense, received new funding for clinical trials at the FDA, and continued funding for the National ALS Registry Program at the CDC. An incredibly exciting win that came out of federal advocacy efforts was the passage of the Act for ALS Act, which will speed the discovery of new treatments for people living with ALS through more clinical trials and its expanded access to investigational drugs. In 2022, we are continuing the efforts to expand funding for ALS research because more federal investments will lead to more clinical trials and ultimately treatments and a cure. Included in our 2022 public policy priority asks is urging the FDA to use every tool and opportunity it has to fast track and review the approval of new drugs for ALS. We also want to ensure that people living with ALS have insurance coverage for new drugs. We are also asking Congress to pass a bill to provide a tax credit for family caregivers. This is just a very small example of the types of legislation we are pushing this year, so that next year we can come back to you with even more advocacy wins. Advocacy has a profound impact and brings us closer to creating a world without ALS. If you're interested in learning more about advocacy or becoming an ALS advocate, please feel free to fill out our sign-out form at the front desk or connect with the chapter. Thank you so much for listening to our advocacy wins. We are so excited to bring you more in the years to come. I'd now like to welcome our Managing Director of Care Services, Marie Folino, to speak about the chapter's impact in 2021.
Thank you, Kelsey, and thank you all for your advocacy efforts and how those all work to help our care services. It's really great to see everyone. I missed all of you. I'm looking forward to my new role as Manager Director of Care Services. I see so much potential, and I am impressed with all the other very dedicated care services staff in our territory. However, I also want to clearly state that care services will continue to be local. It is the relationships and connections that we have made with each of you, our clinics and service providers, that have allowed us to succeed and grow with our programs and services. These relationships are not only critical now, but as the future to our goals toward making ALS a livable disease, and a time when our services are no longer needed as there is a world without ALS. One team, one vision, one mission. Now granted, these past 2 years have been a challenge and continue to be a challenge for all of us. Our concern over isolation with families, shortages in direct care workers, and increased length of time for equipment delivery have all made us need to think differently, work harder, and make more of an effort to stay connected with each other. We've made some changes. For example, each person registered with our chapter is now assigned a social worker, and that person is their point of contact throughout, from diagnosis throughout their needs. We also added a Living with ALS virtual meeting, which has been very successful. We've also, due to rising costs in care, we have increased our respite grants for home care from $5,000 to a maximum of $7,000 based on level of care needs. I'm pleased to say that we have provided respite care hours to match our pre-pandemic hours. I think in 2021 we did 6,000 hours of respite care. We've also increased the number of grants that we are approving, the number of nutritional supplements we are providing, and in addition, we are completing more personalized caregiver training through Lee, our occupational therapist, and have added Kate, our speech therapist, part-time to our care services team. I always say, and I think these numbers are from 2021, and our numbers are important. It shows what we've done: $161,000 in grants, $34,000 in chapter grants funded. These numbers are important. They mean a lot to us and provide us with kind of a state of what we're doing. But recently, I had a conversation with a person living with ALS. We were able to provide her with a ramp, a small light rider, which is a small portable power wheelchair, and liftwear, which is adapted utensils. She called these services life-altering. And to me, that's why we're all here. We're able to do life-altering and have a life-altering impact because of you and all of your support. Please know from the bottom of my heart how much I appreciate each and every one of you, and I am always grateful for everything that you do. So now I'd like to introduce and congratulate Jill Kerr as she moves into her new role as Care Services Director. I am confident in Jill's ability to lead our Care Services team and do even more for those living with ALS. And she will continue the guiding value of our Care Services, and that is people living with ALS and their families come first in everything we do. Jill?
Hi, everyone. It's nice to see everyone in person. When I was hired in October of 2020, I was introduced to everyone by Zoom and continued working that way for quite a long time. So much so that I remember when we had a luncheon with the chapter staff that I realized I couldn't recognize anyone that happened to be turned away from me. So it was kind of nice to say, oh, I can put a complete person with a face. So as we've slowly reintegrated back into working in our communities and in our clinics, I've really had a nice opportunity to meet so many wonderful people living with ALS and their families. Being able to assist our families as well as being a part of such a wonderful team has been such an amazing experience, and why I look forward to my new role with the chapter, being able to continue to do what we've been doing and even more so. In my new role, I look forward to meeting the goals that Ryan shared with you, as well as continuing what Marie has shared as well, so that we can make this a livable disease and continue providing the services that are life-altering, as Marie called it. To do this, our care services team are really going to be working together in order to provide a wide range of services. And I would just like to take a few moments just to introduce who that is. Again, some of them were hired during the pandemic, so many of them haven't had a chance to see people in person. So our team right now includes Kristen Keefe, and also Brittany McCall, who has been just recently hired, 2 weeks. April Smith was not able to join us today, but she is a very important part of our team, and I know many of you are very familiar with April and how she's an integral part of our team as well. We also have our chapter occupational therapist, Lee, that was mentioned, and our speech and language pathologist, Kate. They're not here today, but they're a very valuable, part of our team that I just wanted to mention. So thank you for this new opportunity. I look forward to it and meeting all of you today. And now I'd like to introduce Kristi to come up and speak.
Thanks, Jill. I think it's a running joke that people forget to introduce me at these things every year. Love it. But I'm so happy to be here and so excited to hear about all the care services that we're going to be raising funds for in the future. So let's dive right into it. It's so nice that you are all here after 2 years of Zoom meetings. I'm really happy to know that I'm not on mute and talking and people can hear me, so this is great. But after 2 years, we made it. We are here and we have a lot to be grateful for. As Ryan mentioned earlier, I am moving into a new role within the ALS Association and will be the new Managing Director of Development for the Great Lakes Territory. This is a very exciting time for me in my career, but I am much more excited about the work that is ahead for our organization. For the past 11 years, I've worked with all of you, and we have accomplished so much. We have moved the Pittsburgh Walk to the point. We have gotten Johnstown Walk over $100,000 consistently, which before I started it wasn't, so that was super exciting when we did. And we've diversified our chapter funding to present new giving opportunities that expanded and welcomed new donor relationships. I'm so proud of this work and all that I've learned from all of you, and now I get to expand my reach to help other chapters get up to our level of excellence. Thank you for setting the gold standard for how a community should work together. I will be striving for that within the other states in our territories so that people living with ALS get the same quality of care that they get here in Western PA. But don't worry, I'm not going to be going far. I will still be working closely with our new Director of Development, Amie Olson, and Jenna McEwen, our now Senior Development Manager. So I think you're in good hands because last year we hit our highest fundraising goal year to date. So thank you so much for everyone during a challenging time, virtual visits, and the ever-changing strategy. You all hit $2 million. That is incredible. So that does include our advocacy efforts, but that was a lot of fundraising work that we did. So congratulations to all of you. Thank you for working so hard for our families and getting them the care and support that they deserve. So how did we get there? Well, let's dive into our events and our recaps. So let's start with the Can't Stop, Won't Stop campaign. In 2021, we took our Team Challenge ALS in a bit of a different direction. We let our community choose their events or make their own, and wow, they did rise to the occasion. We dubbed this new program Can't Stop, Won't Stop, because like so many in our community, these amazing folks won't stop until there is a cure. Here are our top 3 Can't Stop, Won't Stop participants and events. Birdies for ALS, Delaney Kern, 17,000. The 2021 Mars Hockey Club ALS Charity Night, hosted by Jared Kolarczyk, and the Pitt Athletic Training Walk, hosted by Emily Strama. We'd also like to recognize the 2022 Team Challenge ALS Marathon runners who just completed the Pittsburgh Marathon at the beginning of the month. This year's Team Challenge ALS raised more than $33,000 with 52 participants. We are so proud and thankful of this dedicated group that put their bodies through unimaginable measures to raise awareness for ALS. We'd also like to thank our first-year sponsor, Old Thunder Brewing Company, for their support of Team Challenge ALS. Here are our top 5 runners in the 2022 Pittsburgh Marathon: Laura Kelly, John Kelly, Morgan Sava, Christine Simonson, and Stephen Appleby. If anybody is here, please stand. Moving on from Team Challenge ALS, so let's dive into CEO Soak, an exciting event that we have at the chapter. As the CEO Soak celebrated its 5th anniversary last August, we also watched the event go national and spread throughout the country, with other chapters hosting 15 Soaks and raising over $700,000. Here in Pittsburgh, our fearless leader, Mike Daniels, worked hard with our CEO Soak committee to recruit 54 Soakies to get drenched in the PPG Place fountain and raise more than $250,000, more than double the highest fundraising CEO Soak ever. Thank you to our honorary chair, Don Belt, founder, Mike Daniels, and 2021 committee members, Rich Boyer, Rowland Troggett, Lauren Towson, and Matt Rosichka. Sorry, it's a tough one. I got it. Top teams and participants for the CEO Soak. You'll see many of the same names here again on our 2021 CEO Soak top fundraisers list. Heffron Tillotson setting an all-time record for top fundraiser with over $51,000. Mike Daniels and Joe Piscini from Oxford working to bring in over $23,000. Our friends at Phillips brought their whole team together to raise over $10,000. John Meyer got creative with a golf auction package to come in 4th place, and followed by Matt, who continues to impress. Congratulations and thank you to each of these outstanding participants. And thank you to our sponsors. One of the secrets to the CEO Soak in 2021 was a huge push to engage new sponsors. This additional $70,000 in support took the event to new levels. Thank you to all of our 2021 CEO sponsors, especially presenting sponsor Heffron Tillotson. And moving on to our Erie Walk. Just a few years ago, the Erie Walk to Defeat ALS was not even a Walk to Defeat ALS yet. But thanks to our amazing Erie community, not only did it become an official Walk to Defeat ALS in 2021, but it was also named Rookie Event of the Year by our national office. 133 walkers raised $32,000 and exceeded all of our expectations. Our top fundraiser in Erie was Dan Wingirter, who was also a member in the namesake of our top team, Dan-tastic. Dan and the team, led by his sister Judy, raised an incredible over $10,000. They truly made their 2021 walk special by mowing a walking path through their 10-acre lawn or field, and over Dan's beautiful property in Erie, and Dan and Judy led the way on an ATV. It was actually really cool. Me and Jenna attended. So thanks to Dan and Judy for hosting us and making the walk day their own. For the Johnstown Walk to Defeat ALS, we always refer to the Johnstown Walk as a huge family reunion, and it's been tough the past 2 years missing out on that community. But did that stop the Johnstown area from stepping up for our ALS community? Of course not. Teams from all over the area walked their way in 2021, raised nearly $127,000. This amazing success wouldn't be possible without our dedicated Johnstown committee. The following is our Johnstown committee, who take time out of their busy schedules to make sure the Johnstown Walk is an amazing experience for everyone. Thank you to this wonderful group who make this day fun and really make it special for our community. Would any committee members in attendance please head over to the step and repeat for a photo as I announce your name. You can hold your applause till the end. Tricia Barron, Franny Finley, Jan Goodard, June Kenai, Sasha Kelly, Max Lawn, Janine Lawn, Jace Lawn, Alexis Layton, Shirley Mayak, Carla Portash, Jenny Portash, Jeremy Portash, and the whole Portash family, Sharon Squillario, and Scott Steinkirchner. I think, Scott, you're the only one actually here, so if you'd like a picture of yourself, you can come on up. All right, maybe later. Thank you to our committee, especially Scott, for going above and beyond for all your hard work. Taking the top spot this year for the Johnstown Walk is a face that is no stranger to many in our Johnstown community, Franny Finley. Franny has been with the Johnstown Walk since the very beginning, and year after year, she works so incredibly hard to fundraise for our community. She and her team, for Pete's sake, raised an incredible $11,481 and walked their way to the top fundraiser and top team spot in 2021. Franny is unfortunately recovering from an accident and couldn't join us today, but we send her all the love, and please keep her in your thoughts. A big thank you to our Johnstown sponsors who are so generous and continue to support us year after year, especially our presenting sponsor, Stoystown Auto Wreckers. Now to Pittsburgh, our biggest event here at the chapter. What an incredible couple of years it has been for our Pittsburgh Walk. In 2020, we were the top walk in the country, and we will not let people forget that. We'll keep bringing it up every year. During a pandemic, this is incredible. 2021 was no exception. The Pittsburgh Walk to Defeat ALS was the fourth largest walk in the country, raising over $590,000. Yeah. That's great. Thank you to all of our teams and donors for continuing to show the rest of the country that Western PA is committed to the fight against ALS. To our Pittsburgh Walk Committee, thank you for spending hours of your time outside of your day jobs and making the walk special. We would like for all of our committee members in attendance to please head over to the banner on the wall for a quick picture. Dana Julian, Kristi Kolarczyk, Lindsay Litterini, Colleen Schaefer, Amy Shaughnessy, Matt Siderik, Beth Siderik, and Allie Warden. If you'd like to get a picture. Allie and Lindsay. Maybe later. Awesome. Thank you all for your hard work. We appreciate it. Next, we'd like to recognize an amazing family and team from our Pittsburgh Walk, the Ewants Army. We were fortunate to join the Ewances and their incredible supporters at their 2021 walk, and were blown away by the love and support that day. This generous family and team raised over $107,000. Tara, Caitlin, and Edward Ewans, congratulations on being the top fundraiser and top team. Thank you for making such an incredible impact. Please step over to the step and repeat for a picture. And a big thank you to all of our generous sponsors who supported the Pittsburgh Walk to Defeat ALS, especially our presenting sponsor, Mascaro Family Foundation. Now to introduce your new Director of Development, Amie Olson.
Thank you, Kristi. Before I begin, I'd just like to take a moment to thank Kristi for her years of guidance and leadership for our department. She's overseen success and over substantial growth over the past many years, starting with new initiatives, bringing on new staff, overcoming pandemic fundraising, and excelling at it all. Thank you for being a friend and a mentor for the last 10 years through my ALS journey, and doing everything that you can to be here for our ALS community. I'm honored to follow in your footsteps and continue to keep Western PA in first place, #1 always. #1. And we really appreciate you. But don't worry, she's not going anywhere. She's still going to be here for everything. While we adapt to this changing environment, we are led by our ever-present motto that people living with ALS and their families come first in everything that we do. Our team is working overtime to ensure that we not only meet but exceed our goals this year so that our ALS community's needs are met in every way possible. To support our team in exceeding our 2022 goals, we are growing. So please join me in welcoming Janie Sink and Anna Patch to our ALS family. You guys have to stand up now. Anna's in the back there. Also happens to be a photographer, so we put her to work. These two bring a wealth of knowledge and diverse experience and passion to our team. Janie will be our development manager working on our CEO SOAK and our corporate partnerships. She's already going over the top as she doesn't actually start till the middle of next month, but is joining us here today. And I'm sure you all make her feel very welcome. And Anna joined our team recently as the development associate. Anna's going to be supporting all of our events as well as Danielle with our marketing efforts and leading our Team Challenge ALS efforts. She joined the team just a week ago and is already jumping in head first, as you've seen her, I think, at her second event now. And I would be remiss if I didn't congratulate Jenna McEwen on her promotion to Senior Development Manager. It has been incredible to watch you grow over the past few years, and she has really taken total leadership over our Walk to Defeat ALS program, and she never misses a beat. And she hates me for calling her out. So together with our new staff, Kristi's leadership, and a territory team full of new ideas, we are stronger and more supported than ever. We're ready to do whatever it takes to make ALS a livable disease, and we are here to lead you through a jam-packed event season and blow these goals out of the water, knowing that every dollar we raise is more support for our ALS community. As we embrace a volunteer-led model here at the chapter and rely on our committees more than ever, I want to take a moment to give one more round of applause to all of our committee members who work so hard to make these events possible. You all keep this ship sailing. We could not do it without you. And as all of these volunteers will tell you, our 2022 event season is in full swing. So be sure to follow us on social media and check your email for upcoming dates and events going on. We hope to see many of your faces at these events all summer as we reunite in person for the first time since 2019 at all of our chapter events. Next week, we'll be hitting the ballpark for ALS to spread some ALS awareness, both in Erie and our second annual Lou Gehrig game at PNC Park. On June 18th, we will be back up in Erie, gathering for the first ever in-person Erie Walk to Defeat ALS. And in Johnstown, our community will reunite at UPJ on July 23rd. We'll be soaking more CEOs than ever at our CEO Soak on August 11th at PPG Place. And the Pittsburgh Walk is celebrating its 30th anniversary on September 10th at Point State Park. For those of you who don't know, the Walk to Defeat ALS started in Pittsburgh. So this is the 30th anniversary of the first ever Walk to Defeat ALS. The energy around these events is already palpable, and I know our ALS community will make 2022 a year to remember. We hope to see you all there. Now I'd like to introduce all of our chapter awardees. Please join me in welcoming Board President Keith Pisarcik to the stage.
Hi, everybody. This is pretty strange seeing people outside of Zoom boxes, and I'm actually wearing, dress pants instead of gym shorts, so this will be interesting. Well, thank you, Amie, for that introduction. I really appreciate it. It's so great to see everybody in person for what seems to be after a really long time. So just a little bit about me, because I don't think I've had the pleasure to meet everybody in the room, but my name is Keith Pisarcik. I've been on the board since 2014 and had the honor and privilege to become the chairman and president of the board right before the pandemic hit in February of 2020. And I have been a volunteer for a long time, originally from the Philadelphia area. My grandpa passed away from ALS in 1978 before I was born, so I've literally been fighting for ALS before I came into this world. And my mother-in-law passed away in 2011 from ALS as well. So to see it, from all my life and see how this chapter in particular goes about helping its pals has just been tremendous. So it clearly means a lot to me that you all are here and are appreciative of the staff that we have working for us. So with that, I am very, very happy to be here to introduce some very important people in our community. These 4 chapter awards are given each year to people who have made a very special and profound impact on the chapter, the people we serve, and the greater ALS community. Awardees, we ask that you make your way to the stage to receive your award. Feel free to say a few words if you would like, no pressure, and then stand with your award over at the banner on the far wall for your photo. For our first award, the Rita G. Patchan Volunteer of the Year Award. Rita G. Patchan was a founding member of the chapter back in 1982 and served as the president of the chapter for 18 years. Because of her outstanding service to the organization and dedication to ALS, the chapter established this award to recognize a person or persons who use their time to make a positive change in our ALS community. This year's recipient is no exception. Like just about everything in 2020, our walk programs were completely flipped on their heads when the pandemic started. Plans started shifting from in-person to virtual events, and our staff and committees worked hard to determine a new way to host the walks. At the heart of this successful change were our many, many walk volunteers. One volunteer, Warden, went above her call of duty. Allie stepped up to the challenge to coordinate and map out all the remote walk teams, recruit and assign available volunteers, and schedule walk kit drop-offs to over 100 teams all over the greater Pittsburgh area, and in some cases beyond. Thanks to Allie's efforts, we were able to get our walkers to the resources they needed to host their own successful mini walk events. Because of this and many hours of stewardship and support, the 2020 Pittsburgh Walk was named the #1 walk in the country. You will probably hear that 7 more times today, because it is that cool. Last year, as we entered the second year of remote walk events, Allie did not let us down. She again recruited volunteers, organized responsibilities, and orchestrated a seamless delivery structure to support our walk teams. From stuffing walk kits to recruiting volunteers to lending a hand in the office, Allie stepped up in our time of need. Since 2015, when Allie was recruited as a volunteer for the chapter by a beloved former employee and Allie's longtime friend, Kristi Simmers, she has been someone we can lean on. As many volunteers know, once you're in the chapter family, you're in it for life. Allie's personal connection to ALS and her dedication to supporting our ALS community is obvious in every task thrown her way. As the volunteer coordinator for the Pittsburgh Walk Committee, Allie has been responsible for mobilizing our Walk Day volunteers at Point State Park since 2018 and plays a large role in making Walk Days a success. Allie works diligently each year to connect with volunteers, recruit groups from local colleges and clubs, and assign each and every person a job on event day. Her dedication to her role ensures that every other volunteer feels appreciated and empowered to help the ALS community. She makes sure the chapter's bases are covered and does an excellent job managing this large group of helping hands. This year, as we move back to in-person events, we're reminded what a huge undertaking this volunteer role is, and Allie, we're so thankful to have your experience and expertise. Without further ado, here to accept her award as our 2021 Rita G. Patchan Volunteer of the Year, Warden.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for the honor of this award. It is very humbling to be recognized by this truly amazing community. I first volunteered at an ALS walk at Point State Park as a way to support my friend, Kristi Simmers, in her first job out of college. I then moved away from Pittsburgh, and Kristi moved on from the chapter with a different career path. When I returned to Pittsburgh in 2017, I still remembered Kristi Marsili, and I remembered this community. It is this community and the love, support, and courage that they show every day that has inspired me to continue to volunteer and do my small part in this fight against ALS. I have felt grateful for the friends and connections I have made during my volunteer time, so thank you for again allowing me to be part of your community and for honoring me today. Thank you.
I'll wait till the picture's done. All right, thank you again, Allie. Our next award is the Dr. Sarah W. Wood Advocate of the Year Award. Dr. Sarah W. Wood has been a long-standing advocate for ALS and was the first recipient of the Advocate of the Year Award named for her. Sarah's contributions to the organization's advocacy programs were the very foundation of our entire public policy program. Advocacy is one of our mission priorities, and ALS advocates bring us closer to a world without ALS by joining a huge, dedicated network of nationwide voices. Sarah, would you please join us by the awards table? Thank you. For the many challenges that ALS brings to our families, it also brings folks from many different backgrounds to a tight community to fight for the one common goal, a cure for ALS. Now and then, a true advocate comes along and makes an incredible impact that resonates for years. Ann Lewis is one such person. Her commitment to the ALS Association and our community started when her stepson, Matthew, was diagnosed in 1999. She has been a remarkable advocate for patients, their care, and their families ever since. In Ann's words, "In the years that Matthew struggled with ALS, I saw how it affected families in Pennsylvania. While we were financially capable of supporting Matthew, not many other families are so fortunate. The cost of caregivers, equipment, hospital visits, and everything is astronomical." When Ann learned of the tremendous gap that exists between the needs of those trying to cope with ALS and the actual resources available to them in the healthcare system, she got to work to get something done. But Ann did more than just something. Over the years, she has put in countless volunteer hours leveraging her network to raise hundreds of thousands of dollars. In 2021, during the thick of the COVID-19 pandemic, Ann stepped up to lead a successful capital campaign that raised more than $50,000 for our local ALS community. While Ann's financial support has made a remarkable impact throughout the years, also granting her the Ann Lewis Humanitarian Award, Ann's true passion lies within our advocacy program. More than a decade ago, Ann directed her energy towards Harrisburg and met with state legislators and then Governor Ed Rendell. Through many phone calls, dinners, and personal conversations, Ann helped to secure the first annual state funding for the ALS Association of $350,000. For many years since, Ann has done work both in DC and in Harrisburg to continue this funding that supports both our chapter and the greater Philadelphia chapter. In 2021, when our state funding was in jeopardy, Ann, along with our many fearless ALS advocates, worked overtime to create urgency for the state to award these funds to our ALS families. Ann urged in a recent interview, "The pandemic has greatly complicated our mission. The work we fund is by nature very hands-on." She continued by saying, "Our advocacy efforts will need to adapt. Even as researchers make progress in treatment and quality of care for people living with ALS, the costs will continue to rise. That's why I've made supporting the ALS Association a lifelong commitment, and why I hope others will do the same." In 2021, the ALS Association was awarded $1 million thanks to our advocates' efforts. This ongoing source of funding is a direct result of Ann's leadership and efforts on behalf of people living with ALS and their families throughout the year. That is why this year we want to honor Ann Lewis, a pioneer for advocacy successes, with the 2021 Sarah W. Wood Advocate of the Year Award. As I hit the microphone. Unfortunately, Ann is not able to be here today, but was honored to receive the award. So, perhaps we can take a picture anyway. While that's happening, for our next award, I'd like to welcome Merritt Spier back to the stage.
Oh my gosh. There, okay. This is going to be a hard one for me. And maybe for you. The Robert F. Balint Above and Beyond Award is named for one of our former board members who served the chapter with a dedication and passion that went far above and beyond that which is expected. Bob was kind, generous, thoughtful, and compassionate, and he cared enormously for all those we serve. Today, this award is going to a person with similar compassion and dedication to others. The guiding value of the ALS Association is that people living with ALS come first in every single thing that we do. I do not think there is a single person that takes that to heart more than Marie Folino. Over the last 13 years, Marie Folino has taken her job description and, well, frankly, she threw it out the window. Instead, she has been writing her own rules and creating her own standard of excellence to ensure those living with ALS here in Western Pennsylvania are and always will be supported and empowered to live the best life possible that they can. Those of us who know her well pretty much stay out of her way and let her do her job, because she did far more and far better than what her job description ever had in store. Often referred to as an angel, Marie goes above and beyond for people we serve. Because of this reputation, Marie has been called upon by many other chapters to share her best practices and enhance their program development. In 2014, there was an individual living with ALS that could not get proper care at the ER because nurses and doctors did not understand how to care for someone living with ALS. Marie heard this story and immediately thought of a way to help, of course. She said, if medical professionals do not understand ALS, how are family members supposed to know how to care for their loved ones? This sparked a new program idea from Marie that would bring personalized, private caregiver training to families in their homes. Marie teamed up with local healthcare providers, and together they created a transformative new training program, privately and quietly conducting home care lessons tailored to the needs of each individual family living with ALS. In the early stages of this program, the Pittsburgh Business Times heard of Marie's work and her incredible dedication that she has to the ALS community, and recognized her as a local healthcare hero. Marie was presented this award at a grand event with hundreds of people at the William Penn Hotel. And while I'm sure she would have rather crawled under the table to avoid the attention, it was a well-deserved honor. She even got her picture in the paper. Many other ALS Association chapters were getting word of this program, and in 2016, our chapter received the Program Innovation Award from the National ALS Association. The program is just one example of how Marie goes above and beyond to raise the bar for excellence in ALS care, not just in Western Pennsylvania, but across the country. I'm Scottish. The only trait I know about myself is whiskey. No, wait, stubbornness, that's it. I Googled traits of Italian people, basically Marie. Apparently, they speak loudly, which Marie can do. They love coffee. There's no question about Marie's love for coffee, especially named one jet fuel. Although I think she's given up coffee, but not her homemade limoncello. They are passionate, they are crazy drivers, yes, Marie, and it may be their stubborn nature, but Marie will not take no for an answer. I believe her nickname from many providers and state representatives is the Bulldog, because like a dog with a bone, she will latch onto an issue and she will not give up on a family that needs help. Marie is a patient and an ALS patient's family and family's biggest advocate. If there is a system or a bureaucratic obstacle that prohibits a family from getting the support they deserve, Marie has been known to spend several hours on the phone calling state representatives on behalf of our ALS families, explaining the need for urgent care and support. Again, not in that job description. A true testament of her dedication and the many testimonials we get on a daily basis from those living with ALS. Here are just a few. Marie Folino was our angel when my husband was battling ALS. I don't know what we would have done without her. Marie is a godsend, truly. We are blessed to have her on our side. Oh, Marie, we just love her. She always has a positive attitude, a warm smile, and she has helped us so much. And even from her own co-workers, Folino inspires us all to be and do our very best for those we serve every day. Aside from providing durable medical equipment, financial solutions, bereavement support, and everyday encouragement, Marie is also going above and beyond to ensure people living with ALS have the best quality of life possible, remain independent as long as possible, and most importantly, feel like themselves. One year, there were 2 people living with ALS who wanted to go to Harrisburg to share their personal ALS journeys with their state representatives, but they didn't have anyone to take them. Marie took them. Marie took it upon herself to drive those 2 individuals there, despite the fact that these ALS heroes had lost the ability to move their arms. Anything they needed during that trip, Marie was there for them, even if it meant holding a straw in their martini, true story, and covering some holes in the hallways of the Capitol building made by unskilled wheelchair drivers, also true story. Marie has great DIY skills, and she always has your back. Amie Olson, our new director of development, also recalls a story from her personal experience with Marie's ability to connect with the ALS community. Amie shares, "From the literal day my dad received his ALS diagnosis, Marie was by his side. She went above and beyond to not just meet his needs and provide resources, but was a support system and a friend. Marie would take time out of her busy day to listen to CDs in her office with my dad, since they both shared a deep appreciation for music. These over-the-top gestures by Marie provided connection, comfort, and friendship during the scariest journey of his life. When Marie gets to know you, you become part of her family. We are very fortunate to have Marie in our corner. She is a key player on our team. And despite having a do not disturb sign on her office door during March Madness, she will go above and beyond to make a difference for the future of ALS, even in March. So why are we just now getting around to honoring Marie Folino? Well, it takes a certain person with empathy, compassion, and dedication to do what she does for so long as she's done it, and especially in the past 2 years while we dealt with a global pandemic. In 2020 and 21, Marie worked tirelessly to understand the struggles of our ALS families during a time of worldwide uncertainty. Throughout the pandemic, Marie probably took 10 to 15 calls, took calls every 10 to 15 minutes from a family in need. Always wanting to stay a step ahead, she came up with new procedures for caring for people with ALS, new ways of getting equipment into homes, creative ways to offer support and guidance with Zoom calls and telehealth visits. We are proud to say that during the past 2 years, the chapter services and programs have never stopped. They may have been adjusted, but the quality of service never wavered under Marie. She continued to do her best for ALS and the ALS community during that very tumultuous time. Marie Folino, we adore you. I adore you. I can't imagine moving forward as a territory executive without you on my team. Heading up the future of programs and services in our 5-state region is just simply something I knew had to happen. And I would not have taken the job, in all seriousness, without you. Your laugh and positive attitude keep us going. Your social work skills have come in handy for all of us who work with you at one time or another. We have all leaned on you for support. Even though you can never find your keys, and you'll come to the office without your computer, and despite the fact that you get in your car and almost always need to call the office to find out where you're going, we are still very grateful for you. It is those quirks that make you endearing and remind us that you are an angel to many, but you are also human. On that note, I will also say that we will always be here for you, just as you have always been here for us. So because of the many, many hours Marie has put in throughout the years, taking calls in the middle of the night, on weekends, on holidays, and the fact that Marie has a stockpile of paid time off, which she never has taken, and because of the fact that you do not do this job for the money, there are countless expense checks for business meals and mileage that are crushed somewhere at the bottom of her purse. But most importantly, because of your inspiring dedication and clear focus on what is right and what is just for those living with ALS and their families, we honor our fearless bulldog who goes above and beyond daily with the Robert F. Balint Above and Beyond Award.
Merritt, that was long. It was uncomfortable to sit through, but thank you. I hope I make it through this, so bear with me. I am honored and humbled to receive this award, especially in Bob's name. My mom often refers to a person that he or she knows as good people. Bob is good people. He was good people. This is true with Bob and actually all of our board members, both current and past board members. I know and trust that our board always has our staff and community at the forefront of everything that they do. So thank you to them. Two things that I know that Merritt said was true is that I can never find my keys and my glasses or my purse or my computer or that trip to DC. So that trip to DC, or Harrisburg, I never laughed and cried so hard during that entire trip with Michael and Blaze. I'm pretty sure that there's a whole chapter, policy and procedure, in the policy and procedure manual just based on that trip of things that we did that you shouldn't do. But it was, again, that trip was hard on Michael and Blaze. They went above and beyond. Most of our caregivers and those living with ALS go above and beyond on a daily basis. Their families and friends and their caregivers. I promise to all of you that are current or past caregivers or living with ALS that I will work hard, and I hope that I will deserve this award in your honor and your memory. The same is true for our staff and leadership. Merritt and Ryan, you are true leaders, and I know that the ALS Association is in good hands with you. The same is true for all the staff. At a recent meeting, I heard the term lifer, and that's what the ALS Association calls people that stay with for a long time. And that's true for many of the people because they become so passionate about the mission. Kristi and Kelsey and many of the other staff here, Amie, Jenna, I know I'm gonna miss someone, so I'm sorry, so everyone. You are so passionate about the mission of the ALS Association. Kristi, I'm very much looking forward to working with you for a long time, and please don't continue to scare me. So, we don't use terms like clients or patients. We work with a community who become friends and family. That is what I feel about all my coworkers, who also go above and beyond on a daily basis. So as a senior staff member of the staff, I take this for all of you, who I am grateful for all of your hard work. To the care services, Jill, April, Kristen, Brittany, Kate, and Lee, you are truly the best and go, again, above and beyond on a regular basis. I was blessed with the support of a loving family, but you have all become family to me, and I am grateful for all of you. Thank you.
While they're taking their picture, I just want to thank Erica Balint for being here to help award Marie with the award in her husband's name. Oh, there's a long line. We'll be back with the regular scheduled programming in 1 minute. All right, thank you, everybody. All right. Our next award is the Monessa Tinsley-Crabb Voice of Courage Award. Monessa Tinsley-Crabb was a reporter for the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. Prior to passing away from ALS in 2009, Monessa used her public platform to raise ALS awareness. It takes courage to speak out and speak up about the disease and the personal impact it has on you and your family. Because of Monessa and all those speaking up about the disease, we are able to shine light on an isolating disease. When someone is diagnosed with ALS, there is no telling how they may react or respond. For some, they keep close to their families and have a more private journey. For others, they are a bit more vocal and outward with their experience because they want the world to understand this disease and join the fight against ALS. Fred Abercrombie was a person of the latter. When Fred was diagnosed with ALS in 2019, he and his wife Sandy were in shock. But Fred was already very familiar with the effects ALS could have on him. Before Fred's diagnosis, he worked at Philips for 11 years on a software support team. Before they worked on a new piece of technology, management would host town hall meetings for the employees to understand how that piece of equipment will improve the user's quality of life. Just months before Fred's diagnosis, he was tasked with assisting the engineering team with their Trilogy units. If you're unfamiliar with the Trilogy, it is a portable ventilator that many of our ALS families use. Fred explained, most of those meetings left us all with tears in our eyes and a better sense of what our jobs meant. I never thought I would be dependent on these units. Before having to step away from my job due to ALS, I trained our new team members on this device. I found sharing patient stories with them motivated them to step up their game and realized what we did with our products, hardware, and software had direct impact on people's lives. Fred stepped away from Philips at this point, but his sense of teaching and advocating for others carried on. For example, when his bank, Clearview Federal Credit Union, hosted a contest called Tee It Up for Charity, Fred jumped at the opportunity to share his story and the support he received from our chapter. Clearview was so moved by his story and our ALS community that supported him that they made a generous gift to the chapter, even though we came in second place in the contest. This was just the start of a thriving partnership, all thanks to Fred. Clearview is now the presenting sponsor for our Clearview ALS Allies monthly giving program. Over the past few years, the chapter has supported some ALS research Fred's company, Philips, was working on, which led to Philips getting involved with the CEO Soak. Philips invited Fred to attend the 2021 CEO Soak with them, and at the end of the event, he stood from his power chair next to his former coworkers. and got soaked for the ALS community. This was such a powerful moment for the Phillips team members that they felt they needed to do more, even more, to support Fred and the ALS community. We are proud to announce that Phillips is now a national sponsor for the Walk to Defeat ALS, a platinum sponsor of the CEO Soak, and will be supporting the chapter's 2022 Give Big Pittsburgh efforts. In the summer of 2021, our chapter staff began planning for the annual year-end appeal. Each year we focus on a specific program, and last year we wanted to highlight our speech devices and equipment loan program. When thinking of a family that would be best to share their experiences with this program, they immediately thought of Fred. When asked, Fred enthusiastically accepted, and when filming, he stole the show. It was a long day of filming and interviewing, but when Fred was asked if he needed a rest or if he wanted to stop, he insisted they continue. Whatever I can do to help, he said repeatedly. Fred's story was shared during our Giving Tuesday efforts in our annual impact report and throughout the month of December through emails and printed appeals for the campaign. Fred's story and efforts helped raise awareness and helped our chapter raise more than $150,000. Sadly, Fred passed before he could see the fruits of his labor, but we thank Fred's wife Sandy and his family for allowing us to move forward to display his beautiful and empowering words. To end this awards presentation, I want to share a clip so you all can hear why we wanted to honor Fred Abercrombie with this year's Monessa Tinsley-Crabb Voice of Courage Award.
Patient's time fighting ALS is often referred to as a journey. Myself, being a lifelong motorcyclist, call it my ride. Out on two wheels we pick what roads to go down. Some roads reward you with great views, fun curves, or an unexpected place to stop. Only a few roads I have gone down do I have regrets about. One rule is, take the road you choose to the next turn, in hope of a better road to come. Having organizations like the ALS Association Western Pennsylvania chapter along for support makes this road a bit less difficult. I cannot imagine doing this without help. Please give generously today to support the ALS Association Western Pennsylvania chapter and the services they provide to families like mine.
Here to accept the award? On Fred's behalf is his wife Sandy Abercrombie, daughter Allison Martin, and son Bob Abercrombie.
I'm going to try my best. Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of my mom, Sandy, my brother, Bob, and our entire family, I would like to take the opportunity to thank you for recognizing my father, Fred Abercrombie, for the Monessa Tinsley-Crabb Voice of Courage Award. Throughout my life, I saw my father use his voice in many different ways. He used it to teach me to be an independent, strong woman. He would share his experiences that he went through to help guide me to be a better person. He never used his voice to brag about himself, though he really could have. He was a man who joined the Air Force at 18, then worked his way into a successful career in the computer networking to support his family. He could have boasted about the things he did for us, his family, but he would have more likely given all the credit to the love of his life, my mother. 45 years of marriage and 48 years together. They are my true role models. Dad would have usually kept to himself, especially in a big group. But when he spoke, you knew what he said was often what you needed to hear, even if you didn't want to in that moment. He would give you advice when you asked, and sometimes when you didn't. But we knew that he was always looking out for our best interests. Our family was everything to my father. My brother and I were given everything we needed to be the people we are today. My father worked overtime to give my brother the OT, PT, and speech therapies he needed as a young child to be the independent, successful man. My father supported me in my dreams to become an educator that I am today. I remember when I headed to college, he told me to work hard, do my best, and to challenge myself. He also told me to be sure that I finished in 4 years because he was not paying for any more. I met my future husband while I was at college, and the first time I brought him home to meet my mom and dad, my dad gave me such a hard time. He made a point to tell me how excited he was to get his ears pierced, and it took me a minute to realize that he was joking with me. My dad had a little bit of sarcasm. I rolled my eyes, said something sarcastic back to him, and walked away. But when I looked back at that moment, I realized that what he saw in Stephen is exactly what I did. And from that moment on, he loved him like a son. My father loved his 3 beautiful grandchildren, Madeline, Charlotte, and Tyler. He would make them laugh, play games with them, and watch whatever new movie they had to share with him. When each baby arrived, Dad would race Mom down the hospital hallway to meet the newest monkey, which is what he called his 3 grandbabies. He was a proud pap-pap, and he would brag about them to anyone who would listen. In August of 2019, my parents jumped on their Harley-Davidson for a trip out west with their best biker buddies. During this wonderful trip, my mom started to notice something just was not right with my dad. When they returned home, we all thought Dad had a mini stroke. His speech was off and his mouth was a little droopy. But over the next several months, Dad and Mom attended many doctor's appointments and tests to figure out what was going on with Dad. On October 18th, 2019, I received the worst phone call of my life. My father, my old man, the first man I ever loved, used that voice of his to share with his little girl that he was diagnosed with ALS. Through tears, I remember telling him that we were going to fight. I remember asking him why? Why us? Why our family? During the next 2 years, Dad started to use his voice to advocate for ALS. He worked with the VA and the ALS Western Pennsylvania chapter to volunteer and promote ALS awareness. Even after he retired, his coworkers at Phillips worked with him to raise awareness and funds for ALS. Dad used social media to help raise funds for the chapter. In August of 2021, Dad attended the ALS CEO Soak with several coworkers from Phillips. He was proud of the money his former teammates raised to help this wonderful organization. In September, Dad and Mom filmed several videos that helped educate people on speech devices. This campaign helped raise more than $100,000. Dad also did a video for Clearview campaign urging for votes that helped the ALS Western Pennsylvania organization. This turned into a great partnership with Clearview, who is now a $10,000 sponsor for the organization. My father truly enjoyed helping the chapter and using his voice to speak up and speak out about ALS and the need for communication devices. I will never forget the last weekend that I got to spend with my dad. He had requested that I come alone. He wanted time with just me and didn't want his 3 monkeys to see him the way he was. I knew that we didn't have much time, but I think he knew that we were spending our last weekend together. My brother came over and we spent time together, just the 4 of us. I remember walking out that door, leaving Sunday afternoon, turning around and saying, "I love you, old man, I'll see you next weekend." He made his sign for "I love you" and waved goodbye. That was the last time he and I were together. I got home in time to trick or treat with the kids because that's what Dad wanted me to do. Early the next morning, November 1st, 2021, I received the second worst phone call of my life. My mom called me at 1:30 in the morning to tell me my father's fight was over. My father was an amazing man, and it brings us such joy to know that he was able to help in so many ways. My father may no longer be here to share his voice, but his words will be with me forever. Dad taught me to live in the moment, love the ones you are near and dear to your heart, and to count every day as a blessing, because you honestly do not know what will happen tomorrow. My father was an amazing man, and it brings us such joy to know that he was able to help in so many ways. I am so proud of everything he did to help others and raise awareness for ALS. I would like to thank the ALS Western Pennsylvania chapter for this honor and for allowing me time to share with you the stories about my dad and his ride with ALS. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandy, Allison, and Bob for continuing to honor Fred's memory. So this is the part of the show where everyone thought we would stop giving out awards, and you're all wrong. One problem with giving any board member a public forum and a microphone is that we will inevitably go on and on about how truly blessed we are to have the dedicated and passionate staff that we do here at our chapter. As Ryan mentioned earlier in the presentation, there have been transitions locally and nationally that have affected some of our team, and we, as a board, could not be more thrilled for the 4 staff members who, while leaving their day-to-day duties here at the chapter level, are continuing their dedicated fight against ALS at the territory and national level. They don't know this, but the board would like to take this time to recognize Kelsey Moschetta, Kristi Marsili, Marie Folino, and Ryan Reczek. Scott, would you mind giving me a hand? We have a couple tokens of appreciation that Scott will help hand out over here. So if you didn't get the gist in their presentations throughout this day, our chapter staff has done some pretty amazing things. I mean, pretty much since I joined the board back in 2014. And in the past 2 years, to see this group come together in the way that they have to take us through a completely unprecedented time as the pandemic was one of the most, to me, inspiring things that I've watched a group do in a long time. And I have watched the movie Miracle about 50 times, so that's saying something. In truth, though, it was incredible to see the work that was done and I say we, because in reality, this chapter staff makes it so easy to be a board member because they go above and beyond everything that they do. And I almost feel, anytime that a board member is thanked, we really shouldn't be, because we should be all putting our thanks towards the staff every single day. So, just to highlight a few things, because I think it's been pretty evident that all of these folks who are moving on to their new roles are more than well equipped to do so, and more than well deserving to be taking on these new roles at the levels that they are. Kelsey, would you mind making your way up to the awards area? Kelsey, if you didn't know, has been our chapter's Director of Marketing and Advocacy and has been with the chapter for 5 years. She has been instrumental in developing and creating advocacy programs, and everything that you've seen in terms of the results have been a direct result of her working in tandem with the Greater Philadelphia chapter, and we would be completely remiss if we didn't recognize her for her tremendous work over the past 5 years, and we wish her nothing but the absolute best in her new role as Director of Territory Communications and Marketing for the National Chapter. Thank you, Kelsey. I suppose if we want to do pictures, we can. I forgot to add that to the, yeah. I guess I can, yes. I'll be right back. Next on the list, Kristi Marsili. If you don't know Kristi, I don't know how, to be quite honest. She has been the smiling face of our development group for as long as I have been a member of this board, and for even longer. She has been with the chapter for 11 years. I incorrectly had written down 10, and she corrected me earlier by mentioning it. If you didn't get the message, our walk in 2020 was the #1 walk in the country. And that is a complete and direct result of Kristi's tireless efforts in doing what she does best and reaching out to those that can continue to develop our chapter programming and fundraising in a way that we haven't been able to do for quite some time. And she's developed a tremendous team to assist her in doing so, but she has been the brains of the operation and has helped to obtain really national recognition for our successes here as a chapter in our development work. And so, while we were very sad to see all of these folks leave us, I think, as I mentioned, we are tremendously thrilled that Kristi is staying in the territory that our chapter will eventually be joining as the Managing Director of Development for the Great Lakes Territory, once again working with Merritt. So, Kristi, thank you for everything over the past 11 years, and we wish you nothing but the best of luck. Thank you. I would recommend that we get a segue to go from the stage to the awards area for next year. Marie. I'm not entirely sure what else I could possibly say about Marie. That Merritt wrote a tremendously beautiful speech, and every word of it is more than true. And it's because it's no secret that Marie has single-handedly developed our care services programming to be probably one of the preeminent programs in the country. I say probably because I don't want to bash the other chapters, but secretly, since we're all friends here, we are one of the best in the country. And having been with the chapter for as long as she has and doing a job that I personally couldn't imagine doing, it's just a testament to the type of person that she is. And we thank her for everything that she's done for the last 13 years at our chapter level. And again, are thrilled that she's staying with the territory and continuing to work with our group so closely and developing more and more programming and just better and better services for all of our pals and their families. So Marie, thank you for everything, and congratulations on being the Managing Director of Care Services for the Great Lakes Territory. And last but not least, you know him, you love him. He's been our chapter's executive director for the past 4 years. And as somebody who took on this, was appointed to be the chapter board president at the beginning of the pandemic, I personally could not have asked for a better partner in crime to go through this whole process. It was, I remember calling him when the stock market first crashed and saying, well, I won't say exactly what I said since I think there's some younger folks in the room, but more or less I was very, very panicked at what was going to happen to some of the investment funds that we had set aside. And we were able to work out a plan and a process, and that bettered our position in the long run. And he kept me sane, I think is the right word, to the extent that one could be sane for the past 2 years. And he's just been a tremendous friend and a tremendous person to work with, and in every sense in the word is a true leader, and has developed our chapter to a level that I didn't expect could be possible, honestly, when I first became the board chair. So I have nothing but great thanks for Ryan, all of your work for the past 4 years. I thought you said 3.5, but it feels like 4. I think we can add an extra 6 months for 2020. As you saw earlier, we had our first year where we raised over $2 million as a chapter, and I think that alone is a testament to Ryan's leadership and vision and ability to develop the team that he's developed. We, as a board, are a broken record, and we feel completely unworthy of the talent that we have at this chapter. They are some of the most phenomenal people I've met, and Ryan's ability to bring out everyone's just absolute best at what they do has been tremendous. And so while we are very sad to lose him as our executive director, I know with no doubt that he's going to do tremendous things at the national level as the new Senior Vice President of Development for the national organization. So Ryan, thank you for everything, and congratulations. All right, please join me in once again applauding these 4 and wishing them nothing but the absolute best of luck in their new roles. If you're new to the ALS community and our event here today, I hope that they know, and I hope that everyone has gotten the idea that while they might be moving on to new roles, they really never will be leaving our chapter family, and so we are going to make sure of that. Thank you all for coming today. This concludes our presentation. We look forward to seeing everyone throughout the year at all of the events, hopefully, one or the other that you can make it to. Please continue to support our chapter in the way that you do, and we will constantly continue to do our job to best support every single PAL and their families in our service area. So thank you very much, and have a great afternoon.